Hey friends, I'm your host, Dr. Elizabeth Ssemanda, the intuitive psychiatrist, and you're listening to Stepping into Soul Power. Friends, today our guest is someone who is really shaking things up. She is rewriting the rules for therapists, healers, anyone who's stuck in burnout, stress, overwhelm. She is making great things happen. Shawna Lovin, she is a therapist, LPC supervisor, wellness educator, energy manager. She loves them trees. She's the proud Leo wife, mother, recovering perfectionist, and has been doing this work. Even though she looks good, she's been doing this work for over 25 years, just working with mentoring therapists, first responders, medical professionals, the people that make a huge difference in our lives. She is helping them get better and become the ideal healer they truly want to be. Shawna Lovin, we're so excited to have you. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm glad to actually be here. I'm really excited to do this.
Yes. We're excited that you're here. We're excited. The world is excited that you're here. For those people who I named a lot, I talked about a lot, you've done a lot. But for those of our listeners who don't know you, can you tell us a little bit about your story? Like, how did you get to this place where you are now empowering people in such unique and innovative ways?
Yeah, I can definitely do that. So I think I've always known that I wanted to be a helper in some kind of way. And along the journey, I realized I was not great at science, because if you asked me when I was a kid, what was I going to be? I would have told you a pediatrician. And then realizing that I was having trouble with science and chemistry and all the things you need to get into medical school, I was like, okay, I need to find another way. And I could recall going to counseling when I was like maybe 10, and it was following the death of my father. Even though the experience wasn't the greatest, but it was the idea of what we were doing and helping people. So that's kind of how I got into it. There's some other things that have kind of come along the way with, trying to finish grad school. I had problems there. I didn't want to be a teacher because my mom and my aunt and everyone in our family are teachers, and was trying not to do that at all. And so that's kind of how I fell into psychology and fell into the counseling world. And when I started having trouble trying to finish grad school, I couldn't do my thesis. And it's a really long story, but I couldn't do my thesis, and I had to take extra classes and do a practicum. And when I started taking the extra classes, that allowed me the space that I needed to prepare for the exam that you need. And so it's kind of like, this is, I think, where God, energy, source, whatever you want to call him, kind of led me to this space. But then if we go along a little bit further, I didn't know what the heck I was going to do or who I was going to counsel or any of that. I had no idea. I just knew that I was drawn to first responders, people in the helping professions, partly because I think my husband is one, and then he would kind of throw people my way. But I've had experience in school districts, the jail, the residential IOP. Like, I've been all over the place. And I think when I started to So there's two pieces to it. When I started to work with associates and helping them become licensed in the process for the state, I think that showed me there was a lot of stuff that we didn't learn in grad school. A lot. Mm-hmm. So that kind of led into like, okay, well, how could I basically create grad school 2.0? And let's learn all the stuff that we didn't learn in school. And a lot of it is practical application of things. The other piece that got me where I'm at is my own personal journey. I was diagnosed with fibroids in 2009. And so my transition to live here in Texas, a year before that, you go to all the doctors before you leave because you don't know how long it's going to be till you can find someone new. Yeah. And everything was fine. And within a year's time, I had gone from perfectly healthy, ready to have babies, to you have 11 fibroids and the largest is the size of a grapefruit.
Oh, geez.
And so knowing that led, okay, go ahead.
I'm just thinking but we are medical people. For people who don't know what that is, like, can you just give a brief?
Fibroids? Yes. So fibroids is basically a non-cancerous tumor and it lives in your uterus. It can be in it, on it, around it, the outside, inside, the wall. It's like, that's where it lives. And they can grow pretty large. If you Google it, you could probably find pictures where they're like watermelons or they can be huge, but they cause so much pain and discomfort. It changes your cycle. Yeah. It can prevent you from having children. There's so many things that come with that, but there's the mental health piece that I figured out. So when I'm on my journey, at the time, the only solution was basically have surgery. Like, I didn't want to have a hysterectomy.
Oh.
I didn't want to have a hysterectomy because I still wanted to try to have children. Yes. So I had a myomectomy, yes. Yeah. And the doctor's telling you, they're going to come back unless you have kids. And that's when I dove deep into why are they here? Where do they come from? How can we fix it? And that's how I learned about the xenoestrogens and all the toxins and everything. And it got me in a place where I had my own holistic journey. But then on the backside of that, when things kind of calmed down, it helped me figure out, like, for mental health wise, what herbs, because I'm a self-taught herbalist. So what herbs and supplements and what are natural things that you can do for your mental health, not just for your regular health, but for your mental health. So that's what kind of got me where I'm at today.
Wow. I mean, that is, it's so inspiring because, you really took it's like you really claimed it and took your health into your own hands and educated yourself.
Yes, I did. Because I was mad at what the doctor was trying to tell me. I didn't want to hear that.
But you advocated for yourself. And, mm-hmm. and I think that's such an important point is that, a lot of times we are looking outside of ourselves for the answer, but there's mm-hmm. so much wisdom that we have that we can come up with. We can do a lot for ourselves, beyond what we're doing.
Right. Right.
So you are currently a very, very busy woman. I wanted to ask, because you're mentoring and you're practicing, and it sounds like you're adding these holistic practices to your practice, and so I guess mm-hmm. I want you to speak a little bit to that. Like, in what ways are you incorporating that holistic piece? Piece. If you could
definitely. Yeah. So I actually am taking a step back from seeing individual clients at this point. Just because I wanted to focus more on associates and their journey to full licensure and trying to give them grad school 2.0. Yes. But in the process of all that and blending everything that I have learned, I focus a lot on somatic based things, of course, nature, because nature is a great teacher no matter what. And just trying to bring in that as a therapist in particular, doesn't matter, a medical professional, whoever, you are a human outside of your profession. Like, you have your own things that you have to deal with. And a lot of times there's this place where we get looked at as if we have the magic wand and we could just fix all the problems. And it's just like, no, I can maybe help you on your journey, but I can't fix that. But I've also found working with a lot of first responders in particular is like, they know what they're supposed to do to manage their mental health, to manage burnout, to manage compassion fatigue and secondary trauma, but they don't have the practical application piece of it. And so they often get stuck in, what do I do? I've tried all of these things. And in that process of trying to figure that out for my clients, I think that's where I brought human design into things, because now when we use human design, you're living based upon your unique energetic blueprint that is you, not anybody else. It's not a duplicate. It's you. And when you learn the pieces of it and you tap into that, the blueprint tells you exactly how to live. It gives you the guidance of where you may have pitfalls, where you may need to kind of tighten things up, or what is naturally yours. And when you live according to your design, then you can start adding that into all the other things you do, like your work, your practice, your more aligned self-care practices, because I'm finding that even though we have self-care, we know what that is, and we can easily check the boxes, depending on your type, your design type, you may not be doing the right thing. So
can you explain exactly? Because there's some people who are not as familiar with human design. Can you just kind of describe like exactly what is that? What does it entail?
So human design is a combination of like chakra, I Ching, Kabbalah, astrology, mixed all together to create like this sense of who you are as a person, what you know consciously and what you don't know unconsciously, and like how you're actually designed. So there's two sides of the chart. And if you actually look at the chart, it looks confusing. And it's like take it layer by layer to understand each piece of it. The best way or easiest way I like to explain it is take your average personality test, a Myers-Briggs, some of the other ones, and add astrology to that and then put that on steroids. That's the best way that I can explain like exactly what is human design. And again, it's unique to each person because it's based upon your birth chart.
Yeah.
And so there's an aspect of you that gets developed the moment that you're born, and that's usually the conscious things that you understand. But about 88 days before your actual birth is when your unconscious piece comes into play and comes on board.
That's so interesting. That is really interesting. It's like taking astrology and then adding those other components to it. I guess what I want to get at is like, what is the process? What would someone expect if they were going to come in for an appointment?
So if I'm going to do a reading, we would first pull your chart. And again, it's having your birth date, the exact time that you were born, and the location that you were born. And when you plug it into the chart, I have a system that I actually use that kind of pulls everything up for you. But it's going to give you your type, and there's 5 major types. Mm-hmm. It's going to give you your profile, which is a couple of numbers. It's going to give you the strategy that you should operate out of. It's going to give you your authority on how you operate as well. So taking all these pieces, let's learn the basics first. If we can learn the basics and lean into the basics, then you can maybe start to see changes in your life. I know when I first pulled my chart, because I knew about human design a long time ago, and was looking at the chart and was like, oh my God, this is a lot of stuff here. Like, I don't understand, and kind of like closed the book. And then sometime later, probably about 3 years now, I've kind of been in what we call experiments. And so about 3 years ago, I decided, okay, I'm going to do this. I'm going to pull it in and I'm going to see. And the way that it blew my mind away is crazy. it's just like, oh, that's why I do what I do. Oh, that's why I think the way that I think. That's why I am the way that I am. And it just made sense. And so I started to lean into that and started to notice changes within, my life. Like relationship with my husband has improved.
Oh, wow.
It's knowing my energy type has got me to do rest differently and my self-care differently. And all of these things are just helping just improve me as a person. So now I can always, to my best, try to bring my best to like any clients or associates or whoever I'm working with. And so when you're doing a reading, it's basically just understanding what is going on with you and how can you try to start experiments to apply this to your everyday life.
I love that. What is going on with you? So you have a better understanding of, who this soul that is sitting there in front of you, and then what you can actually do in your life to make the situation better.
Yes, exactly.
So, and that just having that information is powerful. It almost seems like a map or a roadmap to kind of help you guide you along on your path.
It is. It's definitely unique to you, and you're not going to find anyone else that has the same exact chart as you. You're not. That's like I mentioned my husband and how our relationship has improved because I ended up pulling his chart at some point, and then it's like that aha moment of, even though we are the same type, we have different profiles, we have different strategy, we have a different authority.
Yes.
And so there's some nuanced differences between us, but it helped me understand how can I communicate with him better so that our relationship just naturally improved, because I understand that he's in his head a lot versus I'm in my solar plex and I'm an emotional being. And so I have to allow the time and space to kind of happen. And now when we have conversations, it's kind of like I'm looking for, well, what is his head telling him? Because he can communicate that. And then, okay, what is my gut telling me about how I should be feeling about this? And I might have to let the emotional wave pass before I can make a full decision.
Oh, that's beautiful. So even the way that you're talking about using it is informing, your close relationships, how you relate with other people. Like if they had their human design and they know what's going on with them and you know what's going on with you, you might be able to work a little bit together.
Yes.
Better.
Yes, for sure.
Nice. So hold on. Have you done couples stuff with
I haven't. And that could be something that would be very interesting to get into. I typically don't do couples counseling. So so that might be something interesting to look at in the future, for sure.
Yeah, I'm just thinking about the couples. We hear about like Gottman method and all of that, but like just think of the possibility of having this in the mix.
Right. And that actually would be very helpful for first responders, people in helping professions, because as a wife of a first responder, I know very well about how we often have anxiety because of our spouse's job and what they're doing, and how that translates to what we're doing with ourselves.
Yeah.
And so sometimes we have to and then there's the communication piece that gets mixed in, because you could be two ships in the night kind of going past, and you may never see each other because of whatever shift that they're working, and you work day shift, regular time. So there's just nuances that can help with that. But you bring up a good point. That is a good idea to have like a couples type reading for first responders.
Yeah. And I'm just thinking about what you're saying right now. Because so many of us have someone within our family or a loved one who who has a job who is a first responder, And I'm wondering, and you work with patients, you work with therapists, mentoring therapists. What are the techniques, strategies, especially with all the stuff going on right now,
Yeah.
that you have found to be helpful to help people, stay centered or get centered?
I think the biggest thing is just the somatic work, and it's dropping into your body. And what is your body telling you? Because it's always speaking to you. It's always giving you the clues. It's always giving you what you need. It's just that you have to take a minute and stop and actually listen to it. And then the other layer to that would be is to everything that's going on with us, there's sort of a shadow layer that's kind of happening, some kind of underlying thing happening going on. And it's how can I address that piece and honor whatever is going on, our inner child, if that's what it is, and just take that to make ourselves healthier, better. And so then that goes back to what I was mentioning before is when we know what's going on and what we need to actually address, instead of checking off self-care boxes, we have more aligned strategies with our self-care.
Yes. For people who don't know what like shadow work is, or just that concept.
So
what is that?
Think of it as your innermost being, your innermost place. It's the kind of dark place within yourself, because we all have it. It's more commonly attached to, say, childhood, because most of our schemas, our inner thoughts, our core beliefs, our concept, like how we operate as people, is developed by the time we're 13. And so think about like the unspoken rules in your house growing up, that is connected to how we operate and live. What tends to happen is when we start running into trouble with the way that operates, it creates conflicts for us as adults. I'm not saying that as an adult, you can't have any issues or something like trauma happens or things happen, and it creates something different. But I'm speaking like our shadows are typically connected to stuff that we dealt with when we were kids, children. And so we have to take a space to honor that, because that is how we can change what's presently happening to us when we honor what happened to us in the past. We can't change what happened to us in the past. We can't fix it, but we can definitely acknowledge and accept the experience that happened, and then be able to figure out what do we need to do presently to move forward, and to not allow that space to dictate how we operate now.
Wow, that is really powerful. I mean, if you can do that work, it can make a huge difference.
Mm-hmm.
Wanted to switch gears and ask another question. You've worked with lots of different types of medical professionals, and in the area of burnout, and I wonder if you could speak to just what you have seen. I guess the most common blocks that you've seen, and or the things that you've noticed really negatively impact their ability to really listen to their authentic selves.
I think the biggest one that comes up the most is so we go to school. Yeah. In many ways, they put you in this box. This is how you're supposed to operate. This is what you learn. This is how you move through life. You can only, they'll tell therapists, like, you work for agency, you work for pennies. There's so many negative things that they tell you in this box that you're supposed to live in. And so as a medical professional or someone, in this box, it's trying to get outside of the box because you're conditioned to think one way and to operate one way, but you often know that whatever is outside of the box is probably working better. That's how I figured out how like herbs work a lot better for professionals when it comes to burnout. It's just the fact of you can do this outside of the box, but you just have to find out what works for you, because the other piece to it is time management. Mm-hmm. It's the mindset around it. Mm-hmm. And it's like, we don't have to have these extravagant themes or extravagant routines to take care of ourselves. It could be the small moments in the day. And like I was mentioning, if you know what your human design is, what your type is, it's going to tell you naturally how do you operate. So I'm not sure if I mentioned I'm a 3/5 emotional projector. Projectors are known for being calmer and less work, less output, less things. And I have found that I love, this is why I love working from home, because I found that if I go, not even take a nap, but just go lay down, that is self-care for me, because I'm resting. And just the act of laying down, I don't have to go to sleep. I could be scrolling. I could be, maybe watching TV or a movie or something, but it's the act of just resting and not doing anything has been helpful for just the way my energy level flows. But knowing if you can be outside of the box to do these things is what gives professionals a hard time, because they think they can't do that. They think they'll get in trouble. They think they'll be, written up at work if that's the case, or, someone's going to complain to the board or any of that. And that's just not true.
As we are getting a little bit low on time, but I would love to ask you about, because you've really, really made steps to empower yourself and empower other people. And I guess my question for you is, what does it mean for you to step into soul power?
Ooh, that's a good question. I think embodiment. I think I have learned just over time that the more that I lean into what I'm trying to teach other people, the more it resonates with others. And so me honoring myself first and foremost,
yes,
is what I have found where my peace is, where my joy is, where, I may not be able to do everything that I want to do in a given day, but I also know that that's okay, because there's always tomorrow.
I love that. That's okay, because there's always tomorrow.
Yes, we don't have to do everything in one day.
Yes, okay. That is amazing. I mean, well, thank you so much for sharing today. Before we go, can you tell our listeners where they can find you if they want to learn more about your work and connect with you?
The best place really is just my website. So at Shawna Lovin, LPCS.com, you can find whatever I'm doing, hosting. I know I have a new workshop on human design and burnout that is going to be coming out in April, and that's going to be available. So I'm really excited, and I have a different rollout for that where I'm doing it more podcast style. So I'm really excited to see how well this works for busy professionals versus like webinar or like something video based. So, but my website is probably the best place to reach out to me.
Perfect. What an uplifting, empowering conversation, Shawna. Thank you for being here today and sharing.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
If you haven't heard it yet today, I appreciate you. The soul in me honors the soul in you. If you'd like to see more episodes like this, please subscribe or click here. And friends, if this spoke to you, leave a comment below. We would love to hear from you.